5.67 crore people were eligible to vote and decide the fate of 2.06 lakh candidates in 73,887 seats. And all this amid spate of violence in the state. Take a look.
There will be a relentless fight against growing violence in Bengal. Those who commit violence in the field and their abettors will be made to curse the day they are born. All authorities will come with a heavy hand on the goons and the lawbreakers who run the roost in Bengal these days, at least in certain pockets. We will be facing action on the reformative rather than the retributive aspects of this. Every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. This will be the note which will sound in this attack against violence which is going on around.
थैंक्स टू टीएमसी जिस प्रकार की हिंसा हो रही है वो अपने आप में अप्रत्याशित है। इससे पहले कभी इस प्रकार की हिंसा न हमने कभी देखा था न किसी चुनाव में सुना था। चुनाव और हिंसा आज बंगाल में पर्यायवाची शब्द बने हुए हैं और बंगाल में ये कोई पहली बार हो रहा हो ऐसा विषय भी नहीं है। इस बार के पंचायत के चुनाव जो कि अभी 8 जुलाई को संपन्न हुए, आज काउंटिंग चल रहा है। आज अखबारों में हर जगह ये खबर छपी है कि लगभग 45 लोग आज तक, जब से नॉमिनेशन आरंभ हुआ है और काउंटिंग अभी चल रहा है, लगभग 45 लोगों की हत्या की जा चुकी है। 45 people have died as of today as far as the panchayat elections of 2023 in West Bengal is concerned. आप याद करिए, इससे पहले के असेंबली चुनाव 2021 में लगभग 52 लोगों की, 52 लोगों की हत्या हुई थी। 52 people had died in the assembly elections during Bengal. 2018 के पंचायत के चुनाव में 23 लोगों की हत्या हुई थी, चुनावी हत्या। और उससे पहले 2013 के बंगाल के पंचायत के चुनाव में 15 लोगों की हत्या हुई थी। 2013 में 15 लोग, 2018 में 23 लोग और 2023 जो वर्तमान का पंचायत चुनाव चल रहा है उसमें 45 लोगों की हत्या उत्तरोत्तर दिन प्रतिदिन लोकतंत्र किस प्रकार दम तोड़ रहा है बंगाल में, यह आपके सामने पेश है, संख्यावत पेश है। बंधुगण, केवल हत्याएं नहीं, आप अगर अखबार पढ़ेंगे तो जिन शब्दों का प्रयोग सर्वाधिक किया गया है बंगाल के पंचायत के चुनावों को लेकर, वो शब्द है फायरिंग, गोलीबारी, बॉम्बिंग, बमबारी, बोगस वोटिंग, रिगिंग, मतपेटियों का जलाना, मतपेटियों को फेंकना। कोई तालाब में फेंक रहा है मतपेटियों को, तो कोई वोट रिगिंग करके किस प्रकार से जीता जा सकता है।
So the issue is that violence, there is no respite of violence being perpetrated by the ruling dispensation in cahoots with the police administration, in connivance with the police administration. Here, you may say it is single word that it is nothing but a state, West Bengal state government sponsored violence. Since the day one, we are witnessing that the goons belonging to the ruling party have been unleashing a reign of terror, and there is no let up of it. That is why we knock the door of the judiciary, and judiciary has also considered our demand for deploying the central forces.
हमारे पार्टी सीपीआईएम ने बंगाल की जनता को बधाई दी है, सलाम किया है कि इतने भारी आतंक के बावजूद भी बहुत सारी जगह में वो खड़े होकर इस टीएमसी के लागू आतंक के खिलाफ, लूट के खिलाफ, जनवाद की धज्जियां उड़ाने के खिलाफ, टीएमसी के खिलाफ बंगाल की जनता और बहुत सारे लाल झंडे कार्यकर्ताओं के ऊपर जो हमले हैं वो सब खड़े रहे। तो इससे ये मैसेज है, टीएम की जमीन बुरी तरह खिसक गई बंगाल की ग्रामीण से, और इसीलिए उन्होंने हर हथियार अपनाया वोट लूट के। आज भी जहाँ काउंटिंग हो रहा है, हमारे कैंडिडेट्स अंदर भी नहीं जा पा रहे काउंटिंग सेंटर के। तो ये तो हालात है बंगाल के जनवाद की। लेकिन जो भी रिजल्ट आए, क्योंकि सभी जानते हैं लड़ाई के शुरुआत की लड़ाई को एक बहुत बड़ा कदम लेने का काम बंगाल की जनता ने की है टीएमसी के के खिलाफ, और हम उसको बधाई देते हैं। बीजेपी और टीएम ने पूरी कोशिश की कि एक दूसरे के किस तरह हम पूरा संघर्ष बीजेपी बनाम टीएमसी, टीएमसी बनाम बीजेपी को हम बनाए रखें, लेकिन जनता ने उसको तोड़ने का भी काम किया। इसका भी मैं धन्यवाद देती हूँ।
All right, so we heard almost all the factions contesting the elections, barring the TMC, for which the results have spoken, by the way. Nonetheless, we are joined by Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist, Advocate Tausif Ahmed Khan, political analyst, and Gautam Mukherjee, political analyst. Thank you so much for taking time out for News9 Live. Shikha ji, let me begin with you first. Obviously, the data, the statistics, the numbers, the visuals, everything is there for all of us to see. What is this curious case of Bengal politics that the intensity of election after election, it gets more bloodier as we speak?
Well, I think this particular year, the 2023 Panchayat elections are significant, because if you were to look at the districts, West Bengal is 20 districts. Mm-hmm. Of the 20 districts, if you kind of put a map of where the violence has occurred, you will find that these are districts where one political party or the other in the opposition, mm-hmm. it could be the BJP, or it could be the Congress in Malda and Murshidabad. It is in these places where the intensity of the violence has been the highest. It suggests only one thing. I mean, the facts speak for themselves in that sense, mm-hmm. that the violence is a clash between the defending champion and the challenger. In other words, there is a fight going on in those particular areas between the TMC on the one hand, the BJP and the Congress on the other, in which in some places the CPM is also getting into the act. Mm-hmm. In some other places, in Bhangar, for instance, in North 24 Parganas, it is the ISF. But basically, if you look at it, Murshidabad, Malda, Kuch Bihar, Jalpaiguri, Alipurduar, all of these, Dinajpur, all of these places are where the maximum amount of violence is happening. And this is where it's a case of either the Trinamool is trying to drive the BJP or the Congress out, or the BJP and the Congress are trying to defend their turf against an encroaching Trinamool.
Right.
Whatever it is, the political map of, if you draw a district-wise political map and then you superimpose the violence map, then you will see exactly what is happening on the ground.
Right. Right. Advocate Tausif, well, as Shikha ji mentioned, that the violence is pocketed in certain areas, and I think a closer look always tells you that you can't differentiate who is the victim and who is the victor, because who is being chased, you can't make out. You see Congress fighting against the TMC, TMC fighting against the BJP, and I'm talking about the cadres actually physically fighting. How do you see this kind of democracy, first of all, and secondly, your word for TMC's victory, now apparent victory in these Panchayat polls?
First of all, yes, this is not what you would expect. Violence, a polls filled with clashes, cadres, party cadres attacking each others. This is not what you would expect in a democracy, and especially so when the so-called opposition parties in the state, whether it is Congress, CPM, and BJP, they all went to the High Court and asked for deployment of central forces in each of the districts where the elections were being held. So, in spite of the heavy central forces presence, we see a violence. What kind of violence? That there are about, roughly about 27 people killed, and out of which 17, at least 17 people are from Trinamool. So, who is to be blamed? Who is resorting into violence? One way to look at it is the number of people killed. Mostly, it is the Trinamool workers who is killed. Secondly, you are right, Mrs. Mukherjee is right. In some pockets, violence is visible. How I say that? Around 61,000 booths, out of which we have seen serious violence in about nine booths where there are major incidents, then about 60 booths where there are mid-level and small-level incidents. When I say small-level or mid-level, is like pushing around, not so causing not so much a serious bodily injury. So out of 61,000 booths, we see roughly about 70 booths where there are troubles. Some turning into serious troubles, causing death of loss of life. Now, every single life lost puts a question mark over the conduct, over the mentality, over the understanding of the people on the date of polling. Date of polling is not for people to go out and clash with each other. So the party cadres, whether it is the ruling or the opposition, they must first learn that the day of polling is not for them to go out and go out and beat each other so as to kill them finally. And this is not only on the day of polling; it started right after the poll days were announced. So it also shows that there is a tussle. There are some factions who wanted to contest, the other factions who wanted to subdue them, not to allow them to contest. So there is whole chaos. Yes, we always hold the state government responsible for law and order, but we cannot ignore the fact that this has happened in spite of the heavy deployment of central forces. And at the end result, we see that people have voted Trinamool to power, which was expected. This is not surprising. The results are not surprising. But yeah, I would expect that the numbers of deaths, the incidents of violence must recede. It must come down.
Right. Gautam Mukherjee, what Advocate Tausif says that the results are on expected lines. Your opinion on that? अगर results expected lines पे हैं, so ये पूरी ताकत झोंक देना, the way political parties have contested with their full might and gusto. For you also, TMC's victory is on expected lines?
Yes. In Bengal, whether it is a municipal poll or a Panchayat poll or an assembly poll or indeed for the Lok Sabha, it is a battleground. It is all battleground. There is murder, arson, intimidation, maiming, raping, you name it.
Why is that? That's what we were trying to understand.
Because ever since the left came into power, and in fact before that, Congress, when they slaughtered many Naxalites, the atmosphere had sort of opened the gate to violence. The Congress kills people by dragging them out of their houses and killing them in front of their families, youngsters. And after that happened, they never won power again. 34 years of the left, and the left, particularly in rural areas, did a combination of land reform, and acute violence to retain power, including ballot box stuffing in those days of paper ballots. And, you know, they set the trend and they created the cadres and groups. And when people came into power, they, in a sense, had no choice but to adopt the same tactics in order to retain their own. And today, it is a matter of, you know, anybody trying to come in. Now, it's interesting to see in some of the cases that if you tot up what the BJP has won, plus the Congress has won, plus the left has won, it is about half sometimes, and not in all, about half of what the Trinamool has won. So, in other words, the combined opposition, though they are not in an alliance, particularly BJP, an alliance with either the left or Congress. But in a sense, you might say that despite 45 killings this time and 52 killings last time, there is some loss of ground on the part of the Trinamool, because just killing and breaking and throwing ballot box these EVMs into the pond or running away with them is not delivering 100% return. Also, the intimidation is usually of the type that the others just fail to vote.
Right.
Many of the candidates just refuse to even stand for election. Now, that seems to have mitigated. There is more participation this time around. As far as the talk of central forces, they were often misled, especially when it came to the voting. They were not informed properly by the state government, and as a consequence, they weren't even there. Where they were, they managed to countermand many of the actions, and some of those have been declared null and void. I mean, the elections to those booths.
Right.
And they were effective, but there may have been a lot of central forces, but they were misguided. They were sent to the wrong places, or they were. And part of this is because of deliberate misguiding by the authorities.
Deliberate misguiding. Gautam, you have made your point. Sorry, I'm stopping you here. Shikhaji, Gautam has raised a very pertinent point of deliberate misguiding of the cadre and the kind of violence we see. In your learned opinion, ma'am, we have seen so many elections happening in West Bengal, and unfortunately, all of them turned to be, fought very ferociously. Looking at the visuals, it is clear that these elections are also very important. Could you please help us understand, and our viewers, why Panchayat polls are so crucial in the state of West Bengal, and if at all, for Mamta Banerjee also?
Well, look, I think Panchayat polls in West Bengal are important for all political parties. Why? Because the Panchayats are the first tier of the connect between the political party as an institution and the voter as a person who's going to deliver a verdict. If you have control assembly in the parliamentary elections, what is happening next year is the parliamentary elections.
Yes.
Mamta Banerjee has a huge challenge in front of her. The challenge is like this. In 2021, she won a spectacular assembly election. She won, she defeated the BJP, and it was an emphatic defeat. However, the difference in vote percentage between the Trinamool on the one hand and the BJP on the other is about 10%. Mamta Banerjee is coming up to 2024.
Right.
In 2019, she had 22 seats. The BJP had 18, but it has lost MPs to the Trinamool, and there is an uncertainty about 2 Trinamool MPs belonging to the Odhikari family, etc. So 18-22. That's the basic breakup.
Okay.
Mamta Banerjee is expecting, hoping that she wins more than 22 in 2024. In order to do so, she needs to get the base right. With a stronger base, she has better prospects. And that is how the game is going to play out.
Right.
And that is why I said that there is a political map and there's a violence map. And if you see where it converges, that is where the Trinamool and the BJP are fighting it out.
Yes, understandably. You are absolutely right, understandably so. And yes, the political voices coming from all across the state would definitely, speak in their defense though. Advocate Tausif, what Shikhaji says that these panchayat elections, to hold a sway, to win these elections obviously is very important because it gives you a broader base. Knowing Indian polity and the way voting happens generally, हम लोग अक्सर generally we speak that state elections, assembly elections is a different ball game altogether when it comes to the national elections. Do you think that Mamta Banerjee is hinging a lot of hope on its voter base in panchayat polls for them to vote for her in the 2024 parliamentary elections also?
No, I would not say that, because the voter base at the panchayat level, mainly in rural areas, they are very loyal and they do not swing, so drastically. So if you have now that this is just a precursor to the general election, so you can really confidently count on the panchayat areas that Trinamool has won, that they're going to retain it and perhaps improve it when time comes for the general elections. And this has been a case with elections before as well, when Trinamool was coming in power before, taking it from CPM. They first won they performed really well in the panchayat elections, and then they formed the state government after the panchayat elections. So this is basically a trailer of the film. That is how we see in Bengal. And therefore, anyone who relies on the results of the panchayat elections is just normal and is on the expected lines.
Right. Gautam Mukherjee, Tausif obviously saying trailer hai, ye picture abhi baki hai. I mean, before we touch upon this crucial topic of opposition unity and 2024, how the opposition would try to contest against the BJP, especially Prime Minister Narendra Modi, help us understand whether for Mamta Banerjee, obviously this election, how crucial it is for her vis-a-vis what kind of changes or what messaging does it give to the BJP? Because we have seen in parliament, in assembly elections also, BJP tried its might, increased its seats, but not good enough to beat Mamta. This time around, panchayat polls, Mamta once again sweeping the polls. How do you see it? What message is there for the BJP?
That TMC and particularly Mamta Banerjee is a very tough nut to crack. The Bengal population looks at every central government, particularly the BJP, as some kind of other and inimical to the interests of Bengal, against Bengal, etc. This has been the propaganda that they are always badly done by every segment in the past. That's how the left portrayed it, and now TMC has taken the same copybook. Whatever comes by way of central projects are largely fudged in terms of who the ownership is, where the ownership lies. The main change, and which is a matter of speculation, if you like, is that when BJP won the 18th seat, it was up from 2 seats. And then later on, when it won 75 odd seats, which may have come down to about 69 now, with several people returning to the TMC. It's still a huge jump from, I think they had 15 or so prior in the assembly. Now, what is the impact to Vendu Adhikari's leadership in terms of organizing, MPs to Parliament on behalf of BJP, given that he is now in the about 69, 70, and clearly the position, even though you're seeing talk of Congress and the left joining hands, BJP is apparently much stronger than the left and the Congress combined. Will this reflect in terms of how many seats they're able to win? Will they increase their tally from 18? It all remains to be seen. As far as the next assembly elections go, unless there is some form of central intervention, I don't see, as long as Mamta Banerjee is there at the helm of affairs, the situation changing in Bengal at all in favor of anyone.
Right. Clearly, as of now, the odds are stacked against the BJP, but clean winner there, Mamta Banerjee. Shikhaji, I wanted to learn from you about this character of Mamta Banerjee. Very resilient. I mean, these elections, if you look at the visuals, the way the last 10 to 15 days have gone by, it shows that you need nerves of steel for any political party, for any political leader. From what we have seen, Mamta Banerjee challenging the left, tackling the BJP, now retaining, these panchayat polls. Obviously, share with us, what does it take to be Mamta Banerjee? Shikhaji.
I think it takes a lot of determination, and frankly speaking, the way in which she, there are three things that is quite remarkable. A, she has founded a party, the only woman to do so in India that I can think of. And from nowhere, she has today made the TMC a party of consequence, not only in West Bengal, but also in national politics. And I think that's a remarkable achievement. And it says a lot, A, for her capacity to struggle and work and work hard. Her stamina for politics is enormous. She's almost tireless in that sense. B, she has taken on the left first, and now she's taking on the BJP. So in other words, she's someone who thrives on a fight. And she is a leader whose capacity to fight is formidable and is to be watched by whoever is taking her on. And I think the third thing is her charisma. That charisma is quintessentially Mamta Banerjee. And that is why, Tawfiq mentioned this, the way in which she connects to the voter, the way in which she connects to women voters in particular in West Bengal, it's quite remarkable.
Right. Tausif, how do you see this role that Mamta Banerjee has played? Obviously, the kind of desertions she faced in the last assembly elections. We remember, even before that, when she battled those police lathis, got a broken skull. After that, came into active politics and had central portfolios as well. Last assembly elections, she was on wheelchair. And this time around also, she has actually pulled and done what she was supposed to do.
Absolutely, a very inspiring and tall figure in politics, in Bengal politics, obviously, and I'm sure throughout the country, there are many people who admire her and have words of praises for her. And no doubt she has presented herself, throughout her career as a fighter, who is present on the street taking up the causes of the people. It's one thing whether any movement started by her yielded a desired result or not, but there is no denying that she did fight. She has been fighting, and she will continue to fight for the interest of the people, to the understanding, to her own understanding, whatever is beneficial. And she definitely has a very humane approach. She has always, in her public speech throughout, you will notice that she always talked about humanity. She says we are here to serve the people, and that is what interests people. You will see in the last 9 years of rules of party in Bengal, there are so many welfare programs she has introduced. Some of the programs are well crafted for the women of Bengal, and which has really helped the people, the residents of Bengal, especially the women, and for which there is a reciprocation by these population. By giving them vote, they do vote for Trinamool. They do like Mamta Banerjee as the leader of Bengal. And yes, there were some desertion. Yes, there were some troubles in the previous election and the election before in 2019 General Assembly election, then in the state elections. But all of that is now a closed chapter. What this result has shown to us is that going forward, Trinamool can only grow stronger. The question of, like we see in other states, like in Maharashtra or in other states, we have seen how parties have broken up. So that you cannot really, whatever person, in the top BJP leadership, whatever they might like to call them as a Chanakya, but they cannot do that in Bengal. For one reason, that the people of Bengal connects with Mamata Banerjee. So as long as Mamata Banerjee is there, as long as Mamta Banerjee is holding the rallies and asking for votes, people will respond to her. So there is no such thing that a group of people will walk away and break the party, or the one or the other tricks of BJP politics will come into play in Bengal. I don't expect any of that. So going forward, what we expect is that a fierce lady who will be in a bargaining position for 2024 election, and we expect a good result and a better position if the Congress and opposition combined is able to overthrow BJP from Delhi. Then Bengal would be in a better position in a bargaining.
All right, Gautam. We heard both Advocate Tausif and Shikha. While describing Mamta Banerjee, obviously one thing which one would, even the fiercest of the critics would give it to her, is her resilience, is the kind of perseverance she has shown, and then comes her political might and her political know-how. Talking about the opposition unity, what role would she play? What can be done in the days to come still remains in realms of speculation. But if we talk about harboring the ambitions to become a prime minister, do you think it will be wrong on Mamta Banerjee's part to have one?
Well, look, it's not a question of wrong or right. We would dearly like that to happen. The possibility, on the other hand, is not very great because she's Colossus of Rhodes in West Bengal. But and that gives her a certain stature in opposition meetings, but you've got a lot of satraps of that type. You've got Stalin in the DMK, you've got the tryst state, which is in the pole position, even though Rahul Gandhi is not considered to be leadership material, but his party has got more actual states than anyone else. And you've got a lot of aspirants to the top job. Now, Sharad Pawar's taken a fall. I don't know, Dumpty, whether he can be put together at all in future. So there, and Sharad Pawar had the ability to maybe bring them together, being a sort of elder statesman in his 80s with vast political experience, but that is now broken. Does Mamta the reach in the opposition to bring other people together? I think in strategic terms, she has said something very sensible. Let each person win in his strength area. and then we will bring it all together after the elections. As long as the numbers add up, we may be able to unseat the BJP. Well, that is one possibility. Certainly, it is good consent. As far as the acceptability beyond the opposition, I'd say the marks are in single digits, and most say so as well. So I don't think the rest of India, particularly northern India, relishes the idea at all.
Right. Shikhaji, your take on it, obviously with reference to the opposition unity, Patna meetings that we saw had posters saying कि बारात तैयार है लेकिन दूल्हा नहीं है. BJP's obvious reference that there is no prime ministerial candidate in this opposition plank that is getting ready. Then Lalu Yadav saying Rahul Gandhi को शादी करनी चाहिए, हम उसके दूल्हा बनना चाहिए, हम बारात में आएंगे. There was some reference there also. Many political pundits would say. But for Mamta Banerjee, if we look at it individually only, not with respect to a DMK or an Arvind Kejriwal or a Stalin, what is your take?
Mamta Banerjee, I'd agree with Gautam Mukherjee to a point that Mamta Banerjee has a certain limitation in the sense that she's a nationally recognized face. I mean, people know who she is, but whether that is quite enough to make her a prime ministerial choice is a different issue altogether. And part of the reason is that Mamta Banerjee is a tough proposition to handle in an alliance. She has always been a very hard bargainer. And unless the bargain is heavily tilted in her favor, she doesn't like to yield any kind of ground. So, in that sense, Mamta is not probably compromising enough to be a good option for any of the parties who are uniting in opposition to consider as the face of a campaign or one of the potential faces of a campaign. On the other hand, Mamta Banerjee has terrific equity with, it's quite amazing. She was a part of the NDA, so she has a great deal of equity within the BJP, especially the older lot of leaders. She has great equity, of course, in the Congress because she came from the Congress. With the other political parties, she also has great equity, especially leaders or party seniors who have been in the looks of her. Because it has to be remembered that Mamta Banerjee spent almost the entire 3/4 of her political career as an elected representative, as a lawmaker in parliament. She only came to West Bengal as an MLA in 2011. Till then, she'd never been elected as a state assembly representative. She'd never been an MLA. She was an MP, and she began as an MP and a minister and continued right through, except for whenever she whenever she had a fit of bad temper and walked out of the government by resigning. Though she has been basically someone who's very familiar with people who have done politics in Delhi. So that is an equity which very few people really have. And that makes her terrific to cobble together people and bring them together on the same platform. Well, that doesn't actually necessarily mean that she is the best convener for an opposition unity move, or the linchpin, or even a potential face.
Tausif, how do you weigh in? Because obviously Mamta Banerjee, Shikhaji has clearly laid out and very well put forward. We had experienced politicians, if we talk about in this opposition unity. We had Mamta Banerjee, we have Sharad Pawar, but unfortunately his house as of now is not in order. Then we have Arvind Kejriwal's and MK Stalin's. If those parties are talking about, say, Arvind Kejriwal, who can boast of one more state other than Delhi, Punjab, and MK Stalin obviously brings a whole gamut of force against the BJP down south. So in this scenario, this particular election win in Panchayat polls, does this bolster Mamta's chance in order to project herself on a solid platform, if not as a prime ministerial candidate, come 2024?
She is, if we look at the general election, then and forming a government at center with prime minister and other cabinet ministers, then the crucial role is played by the number of seats that any leader or the party represents. So first is who is going to be a contender or a strong contender would be determined by the number of Lok Sabha seats they have won. And if anything that can rise above the number of seats, then that is the charisma of that leader, the tall stature of that leader nationally. And no doubt Mamata Banerjee is there already, although nobody in the opposition camp has represented themselves to be the prime ministerial candidate potentials. So if you talk about Mamata Banerjee, she has kept it very simple and clear, is that every regional party should take the responsibility in their own region, in their own territory, perform better, try to defeat the BJP locally, and then after the results are out, they all can gather together in Delhi and then decide after elections how to form the government based on the performance of each party.
Right.
So I think that is the base and fundamentals of it. And seeing the results of Panchayat polls, you and I can expect that Trinamool party is going to perform very well in the coming 2024 election, and that brightens her chances to hold a very important position in the election if BJP is defeated in the coming in the government, whichever government is formed after BJP is defeated in 2024.
Right. Gautam, final word from you. How do you see this particular victory for Mamta Banerjee, and will it last until 2024?
As far as Bengal goes, as long as she is there, it will certainly last. Outside of Bengal, it gets very tricky.
Okay.
And it gets tricky for the opposition as well.
Right. Well, it seems some issue with Gautam's line there, but nonetheless, the bottom line, thank you so much, our guests, for joining us and giving us their time. Mamta Banerjee, obviously a day that she would remember for the cadre, also a red letter day, obviously victory ultimately at the end of this long drawn battle. For BJP and Congress, obviously they would try to forget this and move on. Thank you so much for watching this broadcast on the West Bengal elections. Obviously, every election that will be happening from here on till 2024, be it Panchayat polls, be it the municipal polls, all the all-important state elections, assembly elections, we will be keeping a close eye on that, because trust me, they are going to weigh heavily on the 2024 parliamentary elections that are coming. Not with the numbers, but also with the semantics, the body language, the arithmetic that the political parties would be forging on. Keep watching News9 Live. More news and updates continue here.
GPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers,